Russia denies blocking some flights that avoided Belarusian airspace, saying purely technical reasons were at play here. Airlines, including AirFrance, said flights had been refused clearance after their paths made a detour around Russia's neighbor. The EU told carriers to avoid flying over Belarus after it forced a commercial jet to land and arrested an opposition activist aboard. Russia is Belarus's regime main backer. Meanwhile, Air France cancelled another flight from Paris to Moscow that would have skipped Belarusian airspace. For more on this, let's bring in Steven Truxell. He's a professor for air and space law at Leiden University in the Netherlands. Good to have you, Steven. Now, Russia says the issue that led to the planes not being able to land in Moscow were purely technical. How plausible is that?
Yeah, that is a good question. I mean, I can't comment really on how plausible the technicalities would be. Of course, on a case-by-case basis, there may be moments when a state cannot accommodate aircraft and so on. What states are permitted to do under international law, that's the Chicago Convention, they're permitted to designate the route that aircraft fly over the airspace above their territories. So they can say which route they must fly over. But at the same time, they have to expedite navigation and prevent unnecessary delays. So those are the two rules under international law, the Chicago Convention. So this is what we must judge these acts against.
Speaking of delays, the EU has urged its carriers to avoid Belarusian airspace. What does that mean to these airlines, other than routes maybe being longer?
Well, look, I mean, the most fuel efficient and therefore cost effective route is a direct route. Perhaps we think this is the same driving a car. If you could just drive straight, it would be much more efficient. The same is true for aircraft. And to go around, to circumvent a country, a particular region, to circumvent Belarus is, of course, costly for airlines. At the same time, there is a big economic impact or potential economic impact for the likes of Belarus, or now for the likes of the Russian Federation, because air navigation service providers, the air traffic controllers on the ground, on whom the pilots, the flight crew are dependent to be guided in foreign airspace, airlines pay quite a lot of money for that service. And so the state receives this cash. So if there are no flights to guide, there's no cash.
No revenue.
So there's a potential economic impact on both sides for the European carriers who have to fly around, but also for Belarus and now Russia.
Steven, why do you think has the aviation sector become such a proxy for the dispute between Belarus and Russia, for that matter, on the one side, and the EU and much of the West of the other?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't like to speculate too much, and I think I would prefer to leave these foreign policy matters to the foreign policy makers safely in their hands. And of course, we've seen a response in Brussels. We've seen a response at the International Civil Aviation Organization in Montreal, which met yesterday, the Council of ICAO. So a proxy. I mean, what is really concerning, deeply concerning, is that, of course, civil aviation is, it concerns us, it concerns your viewers, the public. And typically we're in an aircraft and you can see on the map, the moving map, that you're crossing different countries, and we don't necessarily think twice about it, perhaps. However, we have to remember that Article 1 of the Chicago Convention provides that states have complete and exclusive sovereignty over the airspace above their territory. So we're dealing with sovereign states here. And when it comes to sovereign states in the global legal order, the global world order, and so on, this can be high politics. And I hope that through diplomacy, we will see a return to safe, orderly civil aviation. That is the spirit of the Chicago Convention.
And Steven, briefly, if you would, what do you think, what sort of impact is the probe going to have that the UN civil aviation body announced into this whole matter?
Yeah, well, just to say that, I mean, Belarus is now under investigation, right? It's a fact-finding investigation at this stage, which ICAO will undertake. We have to remember that ICAO is the sum of its parts. It is comprised of 193 member states. And so the states will then, through this investigation, through experts and so on, find out firstly what happened. What are the facts? Lots of things have been reported and so on, but this is now to the serious, very serious, what exactly happened, and then to find out, whether there are any changes that need to be made within the Belarusian Civil Aviation Authority, and so on there.
Stephen Truxell, Air and Space Law Professor at Leiden University. We have to leave it there. Thank you, Stephen, for your thoughts.
Thank you.